March the 10th. It is 8:01 in the morning. I'm WESH 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris, and as you see there in the bottom left corner, it is impact weather this morning. Let's get right to it. Impact weather through the next few hours, through about 1, 2, 3 o'clock, depending on kind of overall trends and things. Essentially, looking at storms moving our direction, and in there could get some gusty winds and a low end threat for an isolated tornado. That said, let's look at the satellite and radar, the wide shot. And I'll be running through this on the bottom left corner through the morning, but let's just kind of get an idea. And you can see storm system north of us, cold front marching in, and our first warning live Doppler radar showing it very, very well. I just went into the radar and made some tweaks to it, but there is indeed some heavy rain moving through. Let me just lapse this and give you kind of an idea. And you can see how the last few frames it gets much better. It was looking fakakta. Had to make some fixes to it. But anyway, you can see those storms marching through. From time to time, we've seen some gustier winds in there. As a matter of fact, just up to the north, I'm going to pop up our Jacksonville radar. This cluster here had a tornado warning just a little bit ago. That cell that's working over toward Crescent Beach. Let's look at the velocity channel, and you can actually still see it's not as pronounced as it was, but you see right around Palatka there, that bright green shade right there, that was the cause of the tornado warning. Thankfully, it is weakening, but we're using all of our meteorological tools here for sure to check on things. There's our live radar, and you can see if you live in like Flagler County, for example, batch of heavy rain will be moving in here shortly. The next few minutes' time, as it moves your direction, it will continue to probably pick up rain intensity little bit by little bit. You see how, ooh, that radar was rough earlier. Glad that that's fixed. Over here to Sumter County, this is a decent little band of rain coming in around Rutland from Floral City. That's going to continue to work eventually over toward the villages. Let's pop up our velocity channel. Thankfully, we're not seeing any kind of rotation in there. This is the Tampa radar. This is our radar. Yeah, looking just fine there. Further to the south, nice batch of heavy stuff around Lacucci that'll eventually work over toward Mascot and Claremont. Looking at the velocity channel on our radar, thankfully not seeing any rotation, not seeing anything either on the Tampa radar, although I don't know, this is definitely something we'll have to watch just to see if it tries to kink, but for now it's not showing any indication of that. So definitely stuff to watch. But in other words, through the metro, comparing, there's Melbourne, there's us. Yeah, so we're doing all right. So we very clearly can see that heavy stuff kind of lifting in from kind of the west. You see the rains sliding into the metro, and again, I've had to tweak the radar, so it wasn't picking up as much earlier, but I think we're in a good spot now. So when does the worst of the weather arrive in your neighborhood? Let's take a look. Now through about 8, 9 o'clock, it's moving into our northern areas. So essentially we can drop that green shading off. 8 through 11, we're working into the metro. And again, if we just pop up our live radar sweep, that's exactly on schedule, right? It's exactly where and when it should be. That will be continuing. And then 11 to about 2 o'clock, working into our south and eastern areas. We're going to look at Futurecast together. We'll get an idea of things here in just a little bit, just so that you know. But for now, let's look outside and get an idea of how things are on our tower cam network. Ocala, cloudy. It's cloudy area wide, right? But you can very clearly tell temperatures are in the lower 70s. For flights, for folks heading over to the airport, there are some delays. For now, I've not seen any major like FAA stuff. No big reports of delay programs, but as volume picks up, I'm certain that we'll start to see that pick up later on today. All right. So, in terms of the forecast, let's get an idea of where we're at, right? Starting off with clouds, showers, even thunder showers, impact weather through about 2 o'clock today, and then gradually clearing skies. Notice the temperatures not really moving much. They're going to be hanging out in the lower 70s. So essentially where we are now is where we'll be through the day today, okay? In terms of the threats from these storms, we think that it's basically going to be gusty winds as the main concern, just little pockets of gusty winds. And through Coffee Talk, I will be airing our live radar in the bottom left corner. And through Coffee Talk, I will also continuously be checking in on it as well, full screen, just to kind of get a lay of the land and make sure we are good. Heaviest stuff right now, working over toward Flagler County, and then there's this batch of some heavier stuff here, working over toward parts of Sumter County. And I do want to continuously, at least while we're together, I want to check this as our radar. See how our radar and the Tampa radar are like almost completely in sync? That's what I'm looking for VIP levels, among other things. Winds are not looking too wild. I just want to check the different rate. I just want to check the radars, make sure to, we call it storm interrogation. Okay. But nevertheless, Rutland, it's about to start storming. That'll eventually work over toward Wildwood in the next few minutes' time and eventually into the villages. Okay. All right. So when do the storms move into your area? Of course, that's what everybody's going to want to know. Totally get it. Totally get it. All right. So here's our futurecast model. Let's take you through time. Okay. Through about 10 o'clock, getting into the metro area, 11, 12 o'clock through the metro, and then starting to work off to the east into the early afternoon. That's our futurecast. If we put on beta futurecast, it's always a good model to just kind of check with some of the new numbers. No idea what it's picking up on. So we're just no idea what it's doing. That's why it's beta and not, I don't know that that's ever going to get upgraded to the full one, but I digress. All right, let's look at the HER model. Let's dial up the HER model together. Yeah, I mean, the HER does a fantastic job. All right, perfect. So here's the HER model. 9, 10 o'clock starting to get into the metro, right? 11, 12 o'clock getting over to Brevard County and then clearing out. Notice the skies are really starting to clear after that. So we are going to look better and better as the day progresses through, right? But for the next couple of hours, essentially, the idea is we're tracking impact weather, okay? So that's kind of where we're at. There is a concern for flooding. There is a concern for gusty winds. So there's different like facets of things. Thankfully, the flooding threat seems to be fading, so that's the good news. So again, there's your storm timeline. All right. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends. Questions, comments, concerns on this nice little storm system that's marching its way through. Little by little, we'll be getting this activity. Now, temperatures, by the way, while we're talking, temperatures are going to be adjusting on the backside of this storm system. It's not going to be a massive shift, not like high temperatures in the 60s, but there is going to be a shift, right? So for today, 73 is it, right? We're in the, as you see on the bottom ticker there, I mean, Daytona Beach is at 73 for a high, 71. Palm Coast, 72 for a high, current temperature 70. So 73 for a high, 60% coverage of these showers, these thunder showers. Some of them could get a little feisty, so we're going to be keeping tabs. I'll be popping out tweets and all that fun stuff as is needed. But that's also our cool down. We're not going to be dropping in the afternoon into like the 60s, right? Look at Tuesday, 74 a high temperature. By Wednesday, we're already at 80 degrees. And notice this weekend, we're going to be planning my little guy's, well, my oldest's birthday on Sunday. We were talking about a pool party. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that kind of fits. 87 degrees, the high temperature. So there you go. Oliver says, y'all kids need to stop playing with the thermostat. Yeah, not wrong. I get that. Totally, totally get that. Sorry about that. Lake Kerr, Salt Springs, very heavy rain. Yes, indeed. We'll pop back up our live radar. And there it is. Thankfully, nothing too strong. I definitely want to keep an eye on the winds. We had that earlier tornado warning. I just want to keep looking. That's our radar. Here's Melbourne. Tampa's going to be too far from there. Jacksonville. See, that's right. It's just outside of the clean PRF scan. Okay, so you can kind of see where they keep changing the PRF to get a good velocity channel for their wider area, and then they keep changing. So Jacksonville keeps changing their radar just to watch that band in Marion County. And that's one of the advantages. Our radar's closer, so we can continue to watch that band as well. And then I want to keep watching this heavier band here from about Lakuchi through Rutland. This is our radar. And you can see where I change the settings. It goes from like glitchy to a little cleaner. Definitely going to be a good push of wind in this activity. So you see we're starting to pick up some green. Just want to watch this cell here. It's on the backside. It's not a big concern. Doesn't look like it's trying to pull in any inflow. Our radar. Yeah. Not anything crazy. Let's come up here. Not trying to pull in any inflow, but definitely, the whole point of tracking storms is to track these storms, and we're absolutely doing that. So it's important to do just that. All right. Now, as these storms continue to make their march, continue to work through our area, one thing that's of concern is like once we start to get some daytime heating, is there going to be an idea for a watch to be issued? And the Storm Prediction Center out in Norman, Oklahoma, who issues these things, just put out what's called a mesoscale discussion. And essentially, they said that this area highlighted here in red, there is the potential for isolated strong to locally severe storms, but a watch is unlikely. They are calling for only a 20% chance now of a watch to be issued. Okay, and while deep layer shear is more than sufficient to support convection, storms have remained disorganized thus far because of lapse rates and ascent, essentially atmospherically. So while we could get an isolated storm, that's kind of where we're at. And that plays in exactly to our expectation, exactly to what our thought process has been, is that these storms, some of them could try to get a little feisty, but the overall idea is that it's not going to be too bad. So that's the good news. So it's playing exactly how we thought. So a 20% chance of a watch to be issued. But when you're a meteorologist tracking these things, you keep your eyes on this radar very, very closely, right? All right. So and I just kind of popping in here. This is our radar. Jacksonville's the best up to the north. I just want to keep checking. Just want to keep checking. We've got some nice rains into the metro. There's Melbourne. There's us. You can see, and I've got ours tweaked up. I mean, it's definitely a little noisier than it needs to be, but that's fine. When you're tracking, some storms, that's kind of what you want. So you can see some of those little pockets of heavier stuff. I mean, is it? Yeah, it's raining in my house. Yeah, that makes sense. But the heaviest stuff is still out here. Yeah. Rutland, Bushnell, Lakuchi, yeah, those are the heavier bands right there on our radar, and they will be moving in. Kara says sometimes these storms are worse than hurricanes, which baffles me. I hear the winds whipping now. You have to remember hurricanes are just big storm systems. That doesn't mean that storms are storms. And whether or not they hit you impact wise worse or not as bad, each thing's different, man. And that's what's always so wild, you know? Jeannie Rowan says we will survive. That's correct, but you also remember you're watching a broadcast regarding weather, so it's my job to be watching this for sure. Jay, when will the Jack Center stop being the problem child of the National Airspace System? Listen, if you can figure that out, there's a real easy way to do that though, Jay. Squawk 1200 frequency change approved. Maintain own navigation. But I get your point received as I'm working on my instrument rating. Point received. We've got an expect further clearance. Time now 1215 Zulu. Expect further clearance at 1415 Zulu. Kara says, "Well, I hear it whipping here and there, not consistent." Well, no, it's gusty. That's kind of the idea of where we're at, right? Mario says, "Let's hope the storm washes away the pollen because it's too much right now." The allergens don't look like they're going to do much because, yes, we've got the rain in the forecast, but it'll take like a day or two for all that sunshine to whip that pollen right back up. Jay says, VFR in the 7.5 is frowned upon. I'm of the belief of asking for forgiveness instead of for permission. I get what you're saying, Jay. You can do an unrestricted climb. I get your point. See, us Mooney drivers we're a little bit of different. But no, I get your point. That's I have a feeling that it's going to be a problem, more of a problem before it becomes a solution at this point. But that's for a different day. And $100 hamburger, Jay, which we need to share. Linda says the thunder woke me up early in Ocala. Yeah, well, we told you it was going to be moving in. But yes, it's nice for a change. You know, rain is we need rain this time of year. Annette says it's very dark in Webster. Yeah, our different tower cams are showing the skies. Like there's New Smyrna Beach, which is that's I mean, there's beauty in that, right? There's definitely that's I think it's pretty. Let's look at some of our other tower cams while we're at it. First, where's the storminess now? And is any tower cam? So there's the villages. Don't really have one there. We've got Tavares we can check in. But give it a second. Here's Tavares. We'll check in out that direction. $100 hamburger. What's in it? It's not the price is getting there. It's the $100 hamburgers because you're flying somewhere to get it. It's not like the burger actually cost $100. Oh man. Nothing but showers here in Kissimmee. The hype guy is back. I mean, that's correct. There's nothing but showers by you. There's some thunderstorms elsewhere, and I don't know that I'd call it hype. I'm just tracking the storms. Like, if you were to live, for example, in Ridge Manor or right here off 471, it's raining cats and dogs. It's coming down pretty good with a good wind too. I mean, you know, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. Call me hype all you want. That's fine. You don't have to hang out for coffee talk. If you don't like it, if you don't like it, you don't have to hang out. Just checking the. All right. Just checking everything. This little cell here, I don't want you to get any feisty. You could see though, the weather service changing PRF right there from the 815 to the 817. The Tampa Weather Service is watching this cell here in Lakuchi. Yeah, makes sense. That's our live radar. It's still far, it's still pretty far out for us. So that's one of the reasons that we have to, you know. But anyway, so yeah. How's Flagler's about to pour? Oh yeah, Flagler's about to pour if it hasn't already. I mean, it's raining, right? But there's that heavier band out near like Crescent Lake. Definitely a deep. You can see this is what's so wild is like you can see the gust of wind right there, right? You see that? That's right in the cell. Yeah. So there's a good gust of wind in there. And it looks like it's almost intensifying up a little bit. So if you live in Bunnell, that's going to be a good push of wind energy. Flagler Beach, Hammock Beach, Marine Line, the whole thing. Let's see as the radar sweeps through. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the winds look like they're trying to pulse up just a little bit there. Bunnell radar indicating 51. So it's not severe, but it's just sub-severe. If we look at Jacksonville's wind on their radar, 40. So they're reading 40, we're reading 50. So, probably about 45, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. Time to spare, get there by air. $100 hamburgers full of yeah, it's full of full of aviation fuel. Yeah, avgas, 100 low lead. Uh, oh, I know the noise. Everybody wants the hype guy. That's fine. Hey, I'm still gonna do my thing, y'all. You don't have to be here if you don't like it. That's all. So anyway, questions, comments, concerns. Lori says pleasant drizzle and light breeze in Deltona. It's a nice drizzle here at my house too. Of course, when I have to go running, I have to have to go run out to the airport. I've got to get a new airport badge, and I'm sure the rain will pick up as I do that. Troy, what school did you go to for flying? So started at Sunquest Aviation. They are no more. So there's a bunch. It just depends on what route you want to go, Troy. Yeah, it's a lot of 141 schools. Yeah, there's a lot. Thunder finally in Nokomis, but yellow has almost disappeared. Betty, are you referring to the pollen has almost disappeared or the yellow on the radar? What name did this storm have back in October? So this is funny, Matt. This is funny because Jeremy and I were texting. So this can anybody name the part of the pattern that this is? Can anybody name it? Anybody? It's a little early. So this is associated with the November 7th part of the pattern, which wasn't named. But that would mean that Raphael is coming back around in the Gulf, probably a little early. So anyway, this is yeah. Yellow on the radar. Got it. Got it. Got it. Test on a Monday morning. By texting, do you mean courier pigeon? No, Jeremy texts. He texts. How many times can a pattern be repeated over and over and over again until the new cycle sets up early, early in October? Yeah. Steph, hopefully the boys didn't give you too much trouble getting to sleep or getting up this morning. It's anybody, whether it's a parent or an adult. I feel like all of us are struggling with this time change. Matt, can you throw me a bone and go BSR for the first week in April? So needy. Yeah, let's look. Let me get it set up. Model, maps, interact. All right, so the BSR is kind of a teleconnection we can use to look way ahead. All right. Da, 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 da. All right. So let's do that. All right. So first off, I mean, there's big storm there. What is that? Let me see when this is. This is Saturday, Sunday, Monday of this upcoming week. So before I go any further, I just am curious, is there anything Saturday, Sunday, Monday of this upcoming week? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's, I mean, there's something, but it kind of just fizzles out. So interesting. The BSR though was basically saying nah, something ain't gonna be fizzling out. So anyway, all right. So there's that. Gets sloppy around the 18th, 19th, 20th. Decent little cold front there. 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Could we have like a decent little cold front? There's another decent cold front. 25th, 26th, 27th. All right. And from there, we got to do this. All right. You want to look at early April? That's the 27th, 28th. All right. Let's look at sun and fun. High pressure. High pressure means warm sunshine. That's like April 1st ish. Warm sunshine. Does look like a storm system moves through second, third, fourth. So the second half of like April 2nd, April 3rd, April 4th, storm system to watch. Which does that line up with anything long range? April 2nd, 3rd, 4th. That's like the Oscar part of the pattern, actually. Yeah. April 2nd, 3rd, 4th. That's the Oscar part of the pattern. So that would actually line up. And then high pressure building in. And then look, couple little, yeah, a couple little deals. So second, third, and fourth, Matt, looks like we'll have some storms around to track. Never a dull moment, right? Why does the pattern set up in October? Like, what's so special about that month? God's honest truth, I don't know. There's some thought that maybe it's the sunset in the Arctic Circle. God's honest truth, no idea, no idea. Renee, you're so right. You're so right. Let's see here. I'll take a cold front, but please no rainy, stormy days for spring break. I know, I know. I would prefer it that way as well. All right, so Flagler and Sumter, National Weather Service just issuing significant weather advisories for these cells. So they're watching them as they're kind of pulsing up a little bit. Let's see, Tampa velocity. See, this one here, don't get feisty now. This one here is wanting to try and pull some inflow. Don't do it. Don't you do it. I'm watching, it's like right in here. This little area here. It's like wanting to start to pull some inflow in here a little bit. Don't you do it now. And then for Flagler, the National Weather Service also issued a significant weather advisory, which makes sense for this cluster here. Also, don't you do it. Like you see how it was a sea. All right, so around Crescent City, you see how it's like a sea of green and it's starting to show more gray and even a red dot. It's just letting you know, like there may be some broad circulation. It's just enough to be feisty. So have to watch that. Have to watch. But this one here is putting out the most lightning. I just want to look as the velocity scans through there. Oh, wrong radar. That's us. Like, don't you do anything. Don't you do anything I wouldn't do. Don't you get feisty now. Moving into Groveland. All right, so somebody had asked how quickly all of this is moving. So we'll go back over to the wide shot of the radar here. These storms are moving pretty quickly, okay? So generally speaking, about 35 miles an hour, bearing 6'3" degrees. So based on a 6'3" degree at 30, I'm going to do 32 miles an hour, which is about the average. So when do these more intense cells move in? All right. That's 90. 80, we'll do about that. So based on that, here are some arrival times for you. All right. 8:50 Ormond Beach, 9:49 in Orlando, Titusville at 10:59, 11 o'clock, Cocoa by about 11:36. So that's kind of just a look at things as they stand right now. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, anything at all. Anything, anything, anything. Anything at all. I love Monday classes. There you go. As the cycle keeps occurring over and over, does it lessen in intensity? No, Diane. Each one is more just driven by whatever the atmospherics are for that time of year. And so that's part of the difficulty, right? Carbon fiber trying to possibly spin up, you sneaky bugger. That's it, man. Those little buggers. That's one of the, I'll tell you, like, that's the reason why, first off, love having our own live radar so that I can tweak it and I can do whatever I need to see cells the way I need to see them, right? We can tweak and do whatever manipulation to the radar we need. Don't you do it, you little thing. Don't you do it. It's not tornadoing. I mean, like I don't need to look at the correlation coefficient to know it's not tornadoing. But don't you get feisty. Don't you do it. Don't you get feisty. What can I do to clean up the radar? 5-4, 750, second trip off. CCOR, Z count, everything is good. Go to range averaging 2. That'll clean it up a little bit. Super subtleties here. Yeah, I mean, it's just super subtleties. Yeah. Looking up here, yeah. It's just subtle stuff. Anyway, well, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. That radar. I'm watching you. A little PTSD. No, no, we don't need PTSD. We're going to work through all these rainstorms together. And when it comes to hurricane season, we're going to work on that together too. Okay? When will it clear out this afternoon? Early afternoon. Early afternoon. Yeah. Let's see here. We get the wind product on the app for the radar so I can see the rotation stuff. Oh, the velocity? I mean, I've asked for it. It's I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it or not. I think I can squeak into toddler swim lessons around 9:30. What is it? It's 8:30 now. Yeah, you should be okay. You should be okay. Yeah. Hi, Priscilla. Thanks for hanging out. All right, people. That's all I've got. I'll be posting as is needed. Just wondering about the winds because I'm going to be flying. It'll be gusty today. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go do my badging appointment. I will see you all later. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thanks for hanging out for Coffee Talk.